So this interview is going to be for our new segment called the WAV Awards that we're kicking off. Basically, every month we're going to choose an artist that we feel is deserving for the MP3 Mag WAV Award for that month.
Okay.
And it kind of just takes a second to shine light on artists who are standing out in the scene. So
Okay.
we all wanted to choose you for this month. So congratulations, you're the
Good.
first ever.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I really wanted to talk about your career, your new album, and tour.
Okay.
So, first question I have for you is as a drum and bass producer and DJ, you've gained significant recognition for not only your music, but obviously your mask that you wear during your performances. As an iconic part of your stage presence, how has it influenced your career and your music?
So the mask has been a huge part of my brand identity for a few different reasons. I like that it creates an accessible image of what people can associate my visuals with. Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of my visuals also incorporate the mask. And I feel like it gives fans an opportunity to focus more on the music when they're less concerned with my personal appearance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ironically, even though the mask is pretty intense and scary, I use it as a tool to teach people to take themselves less seriously. It's pretty funny watching a dude in a skull mask and a bulletproof vest dancing around on stage like an idiot.
That's funny. Yeah. Has there ever been a time where you're performing and like you wish you didn't have the mask on? Or is it something that like you feel personally connected to and like because that's become such a big part of your project now, like it's something you enjoy wearing now?
I enjoy wearing it now. It's definitely become a part of me.
Yeah.
I'll say my very first show in 2020, I didn't wear sweatbands underneath the mask. And
Mm,
so 2 hours into the set, my eyes were covered with water. So I can see pretty well through it, but all the
yeah.
sweat was getting into the eye mask. And so by the end of the set, I could barely see the DJ deck.
Like sweat. I didn't
Like
even think about that. Or does that almost burn your eyes?
it was only that one show where it happened, and then I bought like 20 different headbands, and I wear three at a time underneath it.
Oh
But
wow.
it does get really hot and sweaty, which has been challenging at times. It's like some of the summer festivals that I play, it's pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Um, like, man, what's a good example? Forbidden Kingdom in Orlando. It was like 100 degrees. I was
That
sweating crazy,
I've
but
been
I'm
to that one the last 2 years and it's almost unbearable in the middle of the summer.
yeah, yeah. I'm pretty used to it now, though.
Yeah.
I'm very attached to the mask, and one of the big advantages to wearing it is the brand identity. Like I said before,
Mhm.
it's nice that I can also just roll out of my hotel room, put the mask on, and I'm basically ready for the show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's that's nice. So is that the only mask you have, or did you have to get like multiple of them made?
I have five of them made,
Oh wow.
and I don't know if you can see right here, but a lot of them like to crack around the chin, right
Yeah,
there. Like this one hasn't been repaired yet, but I constantly have to repair them after tour weekends.
makes sense. I mean, especially with all the probably taking on and off, jumping, dancing, all the
Yeah,
fun
like,
stuff.
there's a couple shows I was punching myself in the head too, and I'm sure that doesn't help.
Does it go back by your ears? Like, is it? Do you ever wear headphones? Is it uncomfortable with headphones on?
No, it's not. I wear a beanie right here, and
Mm-hmm.
it's actually kind of comfy with the headphones on. That's why
Seems like
you
it.
almost see me in every single video. I have my headphones on my head.
Yeah, probably stays on pretty well too.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Cool. So, talking a little bit about your career, I know you just talked about your first show in 2020. That was with Brownies and Lemonade, correct? In LA.
Yep. Hmm.
So, let's see. How did you navigate the challenges and opportunities that you faced like during this rapid rise in your career?
I mean, consistent hard work and dedication to the vision, like a
Hmm.
consistent dedication to the vision and not going all over the place,
Yeah.
definitely overcome almost all the obstacles over the past years.
Hmm.
I also have an amazing team that I work with between my managers and agents. And it's been a really important goal of mine to build a family culture
Hmm.
with the managers, the agents, the collaborators, the media teams. Like in the US, I probably have five different media people, videographers or photographers that I work with. And now we know each other so well. They know the music. It's easier to function and overcome obstacles like that when you have that family culture built.
Yeah. Those are also the same people that just talking about photographers, like know your best angles. Well, I guess with the mask, you don't really need a best angle, but
Yeah.
they know what you like, what your style is, and how to, really kind of amplify your project as much as you can.
Yeah, and I'm 6'5" and I'm almost 6'7" with my boots on.
Wow.
So it's also nice when when the videographers understand they got to be holding their camera way up like this.
Yeah. I remember, I think the first time I ever caught one of your sets was at TK Lounge in Tampa in 2020.
Oh
I
yeah,
I just remember seeing you up there, how he's literally almost touching the ceiling.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that booth is so small.
Oh yeah. In Virginia Beach, have you heard of the venue Peabody's?
Yeah.
Also very short ceilings. Like some people hang from the rafters up there.
Wow.
But when I'm standing on stage, if I just move my hand up too far, I'm hit touching the ceiling.
That's funny. Yeah, they're gonna need a instead of how some people have like a step stool, they're gonna need to cut out a piece of the floor for
Yeah, exactly. And there's been many festivals where now it's on my rider where they have to remove any of the risers or any of the other things that artists are standing on,
you.
just
Yeah.
so I have room to operate.
Do you ever run into the problem of I know I've seen a couple people who obviously aren't even 6'5" have an issue with at shows and festivals the tables being too low, so having
Oh,
to slouch over. I can't even
it's
imagine that.
there was actually a couple situations where I'd have to step away from the decks, and just stand up and
Stretch.
stretch a little bit because, man, I'm thinking of Dance Festopia last year.
Hmm.
The the whole entire riser was at my knees, and with my hip injury that I had, I was bending over, and I was just I was in pain the whole set. It was awful.
Yeah, I can imagine. That was actually the next topic I was going to ask you about. How did that experience influence your music and outlook as you prepared for your comeback this year?
So the hip injury was devastating. I
Hmm.
had total hip replacement in December,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, so I have a bionic hip. It's all titanium. It's actually cleared up all of my issues. No more pain. But last year I was in constant pain, so I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
I couldn't focus in the studio, and it actually delayed the Challenger album release a few times
Hmm.
because I couldn't hit my deadlines. I couldn't work. It was very difficult. My main goal was to finish the tour dates that I committed to.
Hmm.
I think I only canceled one show total. So it definitely redefined the purpose of the album as a whole for me because many of the songs took on new meaning
Hmm.
and it like redirected a lot of the songs into being like songs about facing adversity and triumphing over those obstacles.
Yeah. So was there something you did that injured your hip, or it was problems that you had been having for a while? Or
So
where did it come from?
I had an acute fracture at the top of my femur
Hmm.
after jumping off a stage. And this
Oh,
was
wow.
a year ago, and it just never healed properly. And then the bone became necrotic, so the bone was dying,
Hmm.
and there's basically it's irreversible. There's
Yeah.
no way to really heal a bone like that. And so I went through the rest of the year unable to do physical therapy, still having to travel so much. Like sitting on a 14-hour flight sucked with this
Yeah.
hip injury. It's just constant pain. But I found a really great surgery team and got it all replaced and it's all fixed up.
Good. So, do you have to continue to do? I mean, December was pretty recent. Do you have to continue to do physical therapy, or you're cleared now?
Well, yeah, I've just started doing physical therapy. I've been getting into cycling. I walk at least 2 miles a day, and I'm finally weightlifting again, which was a big passion of mine before the injury.
Dang. Well, I'm happy you figured that all out. That's crazy. I can't even imagine, especially with like, this big tour you have coming up. It's
Hmm.
constant driving, flying, not being in your own bed. Sure, hotel beds, unless they're super comfy, don't help as much either.
Yeah, thankfully, I'm coming into this year with so much more confidence because I'm not in pain.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, so, drum and bass has a unique place in the US music scene. As you release the Challenger and embark on a new world tour, how do you see your role in the genre's evolution, especially in the American context?
So, drum and bass has definitely always been rich in North American electronic music culture, but right now it seems to be experiencing some sort of renaissance.
Hmm.
And in order for me to be the gateway to teach new fans how to love drum and bass more, I've been focusing on generating fans both old and young and pushing it at the festivals. Like American festivals didn't book a lot of drum and bass acts besides Insomniac for a while. And I treat every single set like a discovery clinic for
Hmm.
people that want to embrace the genre. And I do that by mixing in hip hop songs and I love new metal. And I just really want to teach people how to love drum and bass more deeply.
How did you fall in love with drum and bass? What was your first experience with it that you can remember?
So without revealing my location, I've been going to drum and bass weeklies for like 9 years,
Hmm.
all the weekly local parties. And I loved it. I got all my friends into it too. It's just so much fun to dance to. There's so many different subgenres of it.
Yeah.
It's really my favorite type of music.
I feel like it's the easiest one to dance to also. You don't even have to think about it. There's always high energy and just it's always fun.
Yeah, and there's just so many different styles. You can go the more intelligent route or like neurofunk. There's
Hmm.
also liquid drum and bass. There's very pop sounding drum and bass now too.
Yeah.
So there's a flavor for everyone.
Yeah, that's awesome. So talking about the Challenger, what inspired, well, I guess, you said it changed a little bit. What was the first inspiration for the creation of the Challenger? And then how did that change after your hip replacement?
So Challenger was supposed to be a concept album,
Hmm.
but as the year progressed, the concept didn't fall short, but it evolved, like I was saying. So it really just started as a collection of tracks. And as my hip injury got worse, it just became a tribute to facing adversity and emphasizing the importance of self care. And there's a lot of parallels with those themes and that adversity that I faced while I started to tour the US as a drum and bass artist.
So I think it's, sorry, hold on, let me pull back up my questions. Your latest single, Monster, with Josh Rubin, has already surpassed over 1 million streams. With tracks such as this one that has lyrics, did the words or the beat come first? And if neither, how did you and Josh work together in the studio to create at the same time?
So, me and Josh, we've been pretty close friends for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely the lyrics came first. He had a track already written.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the studio with him working on promo for the previous album. And he just showed me a couple different ideas. And I went dibs on this one. I'm going to make something crazy to it. And so there's not a huge story around it. That's just kind of how the process went.
That's cool. So, do you prefer when you're working with someone on a track like this? Like, do you prefer physically being in the studio together, or is it something to where if you can't be in the same location, it works just as well for both of you to send stuff back and forth?
I'm okay with sending stuff back and forth.
Hmm.
Usually that gives me more time to dial in.
Yeah,
But if I want the song to be done fast, it's so much easier if you're in the studio together.
yeah,
You're in the same room, just bouncing ideas back and forth. And usually, I'd say songwriting wise, you make a more meaningful song if you do that.
yeah, absolutely. The other track on your album, Breathless, specifically stood out to me because the vocals blended so well with the beat. I found that sometimes it's hard to find the balance between emotional vocals and something as high energy as drum and bass. So, how do you ensure that the same vibe is carried throughout the whole song without one overpowering the other?
I think with my style of music recently, it really helps that a lot of my bass sounds and the energy of the song is very intentionally overpowering and overblown.
Hmm.
So I can have those dynamics of a very emotional breakdown with an emotional vocal and then go into something very heavy. And if you see my live sets too, the context of the songs or the context of where I play the song in the set helps a lot create a moment around it and help people understand it a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely. That makes sense. So, carrying on into your tour, like I was saying earlier, the first time I ever caught one of your sets was at TK Lounge back in 2020. And I saw
Mm-hmm.
you actually just kicked off your tour there again. What was it, last week?
Yeah,
So, how does it feel to, be kicking off something as large as a world tour now in the same spot, but on an even bigger scale?
I'm overwhelmingly excited. And like I said earlier, I'm so much more confident going into this year without being in pain.
Yeah.
And I'm just really still in love with the music. And I'm very proud of that as well. So I just can't wait. I can't wait to be on the road again. I took that 2 month hiatus and I was getting a little stir crazy. I'll
I
be
can
back on
imagine, especially if you're so used to always, creating and traveling. I can't imagine having to stop what you're doing for 2 months and not be able to do it.
Yeah.
So how do you tailor your live sets for diverse international audiences? Because I think I read you're playing in 4 different continents on this tour.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's insane. Congratulations.
Thank you. So I try to keep every single set very true to Reaper.
Hmm.
It's always a Reaper set. And it's been interesting in these other countries. It's like everyone's getting a breath of fresh air because I don't really do a traditional drum and bass set. There's a lot of dynamics, a lot of breaks. Sometimes I play really fast dubstep, things like that. So nothing really gets too tailored.
Hmm.
I would say there were some circumstances where, like when I played in Germany, I played a song by a group called Dikend. When I played in Japan, I played a popular Japanese song, things like that. Something that gives something, what's the right word for it? Makes it a little bit more relatable somewhere in the set.
Yeah.
But it's always just a true Reaper set no matter where I am.
Awesome. Yeah, kind of almost. I honestly like that more because then you can know that whatever city or wherever you're catching a set, you're not missing out on something or someone's not getting something better because it's just true to who you are for everyone.
Exactly. And it makes it easier for me too. I know that I'm just being myself and I can be proud of the music too.
And focus really on what the point, the message, and the style you're trying to get across.
Hmm.
So I know you were saying like self care and making sure you take care of yourself is a huge thing for you. How do you maintain, or what are your go to practices to maintain your well being while you're traveling on tour?
So, one of the things I struggled with last year was lack of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I did get back to the hotel room, I still couldn't sleep very well. But this year, one of my priorities is making sure I sleep enough, making sure that my travel schedule is airtight,
Mm-hmm.
eating healthy. That is the biggest thing. I've been kind of on this fish, vegetable, rice diet. That's kind of what
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing. And then just making sure to take some extra time to work on my mental health. Some of
Mm-hmm.
that might just be going to the gym, going to the spa, little things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I know with the magazine, I think it was in 20, I think it was 12 festivals in 12 months, which is
Hmm.
nothing compared to all the touring you guys do. But I just remember at the end of the year being so burnt out and being, okay, I need to make sure I take care of myself next year because it's not sustainable. And especially with you doing this as a career, that's a huge thing you really have to focus on.
Yeah, I definitely get stressed out on tour when I have too many tour dates close together.
Yeah.
But I can eliminate that just by making sure I get sleep
Hmm.
and eat.
So for this tour specifically, was it something to where like does your team reach out and like kind of pick cities, or was it something where like you wanted to play a city and you were like, okay, I want to reach out to these people and like have these on the tour? And are you able to kind of like pick around what dates you want, or is it basically just whenever people's schedule works?
So it's pretty much a constant conversation with my agent to get everything scheduled.
Mm-hmm.
And, he puts feelers out there to see which markets are most interested.
Yeah.
And then we started building the whole tour around that. There's a couple different venues where I really like the promoter team and I love the venue. So I'd request to play there.
Yeah.
But it's really just a constant conversation and it's like fitting puzzles together, trying to see, which markets work.
Yeah. So how many tour stops are on this current tour, if you know?
Off the top of my head, I think it's around 30 until May.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's awesome though. That's gonna be really exciting. Um, so I only have two more questions for you actually. So
Okay.
to jump into your creativity a little bit. Can you give us a glance into your creative world? What inspires your artistic choices, and how do you maintain a unique sound in drum and bass?
So I spend a lot of time sound designing in the DAW. I'll do sound design sessions for up to hours at a time,
Hmm.
just making fun sounds, making new weird sounds. And I usually get very inspired by film and TV. I love sci-fi movies. I like horror movies. And so I have a TV in my studio that I
Hmm.
always have something on mute playing. And that kind of gives me maybe an extra edge creatively while I'm sound designing.
Yeah,
And then I go into the songwriting process and start adding everything in, make it fit together.
interesting. What's your favorite movie, if you have one off the top of your head?
Most recently, I rewatched Event Horizon.
I don't know if I've heard of that one.
It's a good one. It's dark. It's very sci-fi.
Hmm.
Great story too. It has mixed reviews from some people, but I really enjoy it.
I'll have to watch it and get back to you. Cool. Well, the last question I have for you is I read that you're a host for The Pulse on Insomniac Radio.
Mhm.
What advice would you give to emerging artists aspiring to be a part of the drum and bass scene since you work with them so often?
I mean, I think the best advice, which this is what I tell people all the time, is just keep working, keep creating,
Hmm.
because you can't get discouraged when there's so much else happening right now as far as how much music's being released or how good the other producers are. I think it's really just important to keep your head down and keep working because you might have a happy accident at some time and have that one remix that blows up on SoundCloud.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for hopping on. You've been great.
Thank you so much for having me. It really means a
Yeah.
lot.
All right. Have a good one. Good luck on your tour.
All right, thanks. Talk to you soon.